What if the car sitting in your neighbor's driveway was quietly laughing at every mechanic in town? That sounds impossible. But there are 7 hybrid vehicles out there with track records so extraordinary that the people who own them forget what a repair bill even looks like. We are talking about machines that have been driven past 300,000 miles, 400,000 miles, and in some documented cases, beyond the 500,000-mile mark, with nothing more than routine oil changes and fresh tires. These are not marketing myths. These are real cars, owned by real people, backed by real engineering science that most drivers never bother to understand. And once you see the reasons behind their freakish durability, you will never look at a car purchase the same way again. Before we get into the first car on this list, do us a favor. Subscribe to this channel, hit that like button, and drop a comment below telling us how many miles your current car has on it. Now buckle up, because the first hybrid on this list rewrote the definition of reliability, and the story behind it is far stranger than you ever imagined. The Toyota Prius is the car that engineers at other automakers study the way students study a final exam, desperate and a little humiliated. When Toyota launched the first generation in 1997, the world expected it to fall apart within a few years because nobody had ever mass-produced a car with 2 completely different powertrains working in harmony before. What happened next shocked everyone. Taxi fleets in cities like San Francisco and Athens started reporting Prius units with over 200,000 miles showing almost zero drivetrain failures. Researchers at Edmunds actually found that Prius hybrid batteries, which were supposed to be the car's fatal weakness, were lasting far beyond their 100,000-mile warranty without any measurable degradation. The secret lies in Toyota's hybrid Synergy drive, a system so elegantly designed that the electric motor actually reduces stress on the gasoline engine by handling most of the heavy lifting during acceleration, meaning the internal combustion engine never works as hard as it would in a conventional car. And this is where things get interesting, because that gas engine operates in a narrow, gentle rev band most of the time. Its wear rate is almost absurdly low compared to a traditional powertrain. Now, right beside the Prius in the reliability conversation sits the Honda Accord Hybrid, a car that brought 2-motor hybrid architecture to a full-size sedan and somehow made it feel effortless. Honda's Intelligent Multi-Mode Drive, or IMMD, uses the gas engine almost exclusively as a generator in normal driving, meaning the wheels are driven primarily by electricity, and most drivers never realize this is happening under the hood. Honda's data showed that this approach reduced transmission-related failures dramatically, since the Accord Hybrid essentially has no traditional automatic transmission to break down at all. Most drivers never realize they are piloting a car that is mechanically simpler in the most critical ways than almost anything else on the road. If the Prius is the reliability legend, the Toyota Camry Hybrid is the quiet giant that most people overlooked for years, and that is exactly what makes it so fascinating. Consumer Reports has ranked the Camry Hybrid among the most dependable vehicles in any category for over a decade, not just among hybrids, but against all cars, period. What makes this even crazier is that the Camry Hybrid shares so much of its powertrain DNA with the Prius, which means it inherited all of those obsessively tested engineering refinements, but packaged inside a roomier, more powerful, and more socially invisible body that nobody gives a second glance. Taxi operators in Australia who switched their fleets to Camry hybrids reported intervals between major mechanical work stretching so far that some drivers started calling their cars the boring miracle. There is a little-known story about a fleet manager in Melbourne who ran a single Camry hybrid for 7 years and 680,000 kilometers before the vehicle was retired, not because it broke, but because the company updated its branding and needed newer-looking cars. Then there is the Lexus S300h, which is essentially the Camry hybrid wearing a tuxedo, and the sophistication it adds is not just cosmetic. Lexus applies what the company calls its omotenashi philosophy to every system in the car, a Japanese concept of anticipating needs before they become problems, which in engineering terms translates to tighter manufacturing tolerances, more rigorous pre-delivery inspections, and a powertrain that is tuned to run even more conservatively than its Toyota twin. The result is a hybrid that J.D. Power has consistently placed among the top 3 for long-term dependability in the luxury sedan segment, often beating German competitors that cost nearly twice as much. If you are finding this information genuinely useful, now is the perfect time to subscribe, smash that like button, share this video with anyone you know who is shopping for a car, and comment below telling us which car on this list surprised you the most, because we still have 3 more to go and the next one involves a secret that Toyota never advertised. Here is the secret Toyota never advertised about the RAV4 hybrid. Its electric all-wheel drive system uses a completely separate rear motor that has no mechanical connection to the front axle whatsoever, which means there is no center driveshaft, no transfer case, and no traditional differential to fail in harsh conditions. Engineers refer to this as an electronically controlled AWD system, and what it means in practice is that one of the most common failure points in conventional SUVs simply does not exist in this vehicle. The RAV4 hybrid's combination of a 2.5-liter Atkinson cycle engine, 3 electric motors, and a continuously variable transmission pushed it to become the best-selling hybrid vehicle in the United States by 2021. Outselling even the legendary Prius, and owners were reporting ownership costs so low that financial analysts started comparing it favorably to buying a used car. But there is one detail almost nobody talks about. The Atkinson cycle engine at the heart of this powertrain deliberately sacrifices some raw power in exchange for dramatically higher thermal efficiency, meaning more of the fuel's energy actually moves the car instead of escaping as waste heat. And that efficiency is precisely what keeps the engine so unstressed and so durable. Shift your attention to the Ford Escape Hybrid, which has a hidden chapter in its history that most people never knew about. It was actually the first American-branded hybrid SUV ever sold, launching in 2004, and it was so far ahead of where American buyers expected domestic brands to be that it shocked the entire industry. Ford partnered with Toyota to license elements of hybrid technology and combine them with its own engineering, producing a vehicle that won awards for environmental friendliness while quietly building a reliability reputation that lasted through 2 full generations of the model. And then there is the Hyundai Tucson Hybrid, perhaps the most underrated entry on this entire list, a car from a brand that as recently as 15 years ago was still fighting the reputation of being cheap and disposable, now producing a hybrid powertrain that warranty direct data placed among the lowest failure rate systems in the entire compact SUV class. Hyundai's new 1.6 turbocharged hybrid engine combined with a 6-speed dual-clutch transmission felt like an unexpected gamble when the car launched, but independent long-term test data showed that after 100,000 miles, the powertrain components were wearing at rates that engineers typically only see in purpose-built economy engines. Here is the bigger truth hiding behind every car on this list. The thread that connects a Tokyo taxi with 400,000 miles to a suburban family SUV with a spotless service record. These vehicles were not just engineered to be fuel efficient, they were engineered to reduce the number of times any individual mechanical component is pushed to its limit. Every time a hybrid car's regenerative braking system slows the vehicle, it is saving the physical brake pads from wear. Every time the electric motor handles a surge of acceleration, it is giving the gasoline engine a moment of rest. Every time the battery absorbs energy that would otherwise be lost as heat, the system becomes slightly more self-sustaining. The cumulative effect of these thousands of small mechanical courtesies, repeated over hundreds of thousands of miles, is what separates a car that lasts from a car that merely survives. The owners of these 7 vehicles are not lucky. They are informed, and now so are you. Whether you are considering your first hybrid or your 5th, the engineering principles behind these machines represent something genuinely rare in modern consumer products. A technology where the smarter choice and the cheaper long-term choice happen to be exactly the same vehicle. If this video changed the way you think about car reliability, the best thing you can do right now is subscribe to this channel, like this video, share it with someone who is about to make a car buying decision they might regret, and drop a comment below telling us which of these 7 cars you would choose and why. Your answer might just be the most interesting comment this video gets.